This is instructions not included. How to navigate networking and job searching for media students. Here's your host, Colin Bradbury.
Hello again. Thank you for lending me your speakers. On today's episode, we're talking to Andrew Holmes of the Humber Student Wellness and Accessibility Center. Andrew provides support to students dealing with their mental health, understanding your feelings on how to just move forward and live life. We talk about the transition from school life to the workforce, all the changes happening in your life. We talk about dealing with rejection and self-doubt, and a few tips on how to put yourself in a better headspace. So here's my conversation with Andrew Holmes. Do you just want to start out by introducing yourself and telling us what you do here at Humber?
My name is Andrew Holmes, and I am one of the counselors at Humber College.
What kind of topics would students come to you to talk about?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's an array of topics, anything from, pertaining to mental health, relationship issues. Some people are experiencing anxiety, depending on what time of year that they have, stress periods or a sense of overwhelm. I know lots of students struggle with being away from home and kind of adjusting then to moving more towards the adult life and individuation and what that means. People who are looking for their co-op placements or employment, about to graduate, some anxieties around that transition into what does that now mean for my life. Those are just some, but not all. There's a whole variety of issues that people come to counseling for.
All right, getting started, the transition from school life, like you were talking about, into the workplace is pretty daunting and is a big turning point for a lot of people. What could new or recent grads do to deal with the change and stay motivated?
Yeah, sure. It certainly is a big transition piece, right? Because if you have gone from, the moment you stepped into elementary school all the way through, and your whole life up till this point has been school and educational systems, that's what you know. Right? That's what you're familiar with. And by no means am I an expert in this at all. But what I do notice is that that's what you need. That's what you know. And so the thought of going out into the workforce might be unfamiliar because it's not what you know. Right? And so I think resourcing yourself with other students who have graduated before you, finding a mentor, talking to people about their kind of lived experience of what that was like when they transitioned from college to out into the workforce, I think are important things to kind of take into consideration. But I think really important to know that it is a transition. It does take time. And there will be many things that you experience. Some you already know and some that'll be a surprise.
Yeah, the biggest challenge for me was kind of dealing with the whole lack of schedule and lack of routine, because for so long I had a schedule kind of dictated to me, right, where I've got class from this time to this time. I have a purpose. I have a place to be. So after graduation, I kind of felt like there's no schedule. Summer is just summer. When September comes around, it's just the 9th month of the year. That was something that I was really trying to wrap my head around.
Sure, for sure. And I think it might seem odd to do, but putting your own schedule in place, right, about what your days want to look like, right? What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? Having times when, specific times when you wake up and when you go to bed are really helpful things so that you don't get into a habit of staying up all night, reversing your sleep schedule, not sleeping enough, getting into that kind of routine. If you see it as, you've left college and you're looking for a job, well, now that is what your job is. Right, your job is to create that. And it's an opportunity, too, for you to kind of create a routine around, what work might look like for you, right? So getting up, getting prepared for the day, and then doing your job searches, whatever that might be, networking, however you want to kind of structure that. I would encourage people to structure that as a routine so that you go from college, and it's so structured, to then nothing, right? Trying to structure yourself in doing some things, I think is important.
When I was trying to find my internship, I was putting out so many applications and I was getting so many rejections. It was starting to feel like I wasn't going to find anything, and I felt like, what's the point? I should just give up. How could students deal with this kind of rejection and the self-doubt that comes along with that?
It's a hard one, right? I mean, here you are, full of hope, full of excitement and enthusiasm, and really looking forward to a co-op and what that might all entail, taking your skills that you're learning at college and being able to apply them, and then that's met with rejections. Right? And how I see it is that, I guess we can see it as rejection after rejection after rejection, but that path leads you down towards a spiral of a lot of negativity, getting down on yourself and not feeling confident, right? I wonder if you begin to see it as opportunities, that with each rejection that you have, or with each interview that you have, right? Let's not call them rejections. Let's call them the interviews that you have, are opportunities to sit back and say, what went well? Okay, these are the things that I want to move forward with in my next job interview. What didn't go well? Oh, these are some of the things I might not want to cover, I might not want to say. How could I rephrase that? What were they really asking? Kind of going through the questions. What were they asking? How could I have answered that in a different way, perhaps? There are opportunities to explore what that was like and what you want to bring into the next opportunity, right? These are all opportunities, and they're all experiences. To each one is kind of like an experience that gets you ready for the next one, right? Or for the job, right?
Yeah, someone told me that rejection is just redirection, the idea of keep moving forward, and each interview, even if it might not have ended with a job offer, it's practice interviewing, and it's
right.
Feeling more comfortable with it. So
right. I think it's also an opportunity for you to see if the place that you're being interviewed for, is that where you want to be, right? So not only are they interviewing you, but it's an opportunity for you to interview them and say, hey, is this where I want to put my energy and my time? Is this a good fit for me? And be okay with it, being able to say, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's like I hear about people saying what their red flags in an interview is if they're starting to ask questions that don't give off the right vibe, that you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
What types of techniques could students use to put them in a better headspace or like a better mindset to avoid the pessimistic thoughts about rejection or like your kind of future prospects?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think sitting and imagining yourself in an interview and how you want to present. Right? Can you imagine how you want to present, what you want to say, how you want to be, right? And keep checking in with, is that who you are? Is that who you're wanting to be? Are you projecting your true and authentic self? I think is really kind of important, right? As long as you continue to kind of evaluate. And again, these are opportunities. Right? And what was positive about that opportunity? What didn't work? Okay, and then go over those positive things that you're going to bring into that next interview, right? So refer back to that interview, make some notes and say, these are the things that I want to carry through and review so that you continually are bringing those things forward, right? Mm-hmm. I think is important.
Yeah, and I know that the career coaches that I've talked to, they say that doing like a kind of mock interview or someone else to kind of talk to and prepare with it.
Yeah, and also I think, you having your own questions, right, about what you want to ask them, I think is also important.
Yeah, knowing what kind of questions you can ask to make sure that they know that you've done your research on the company and that you know what they're looking for, how your skill set kind of matches.
And they also get the message about, that this is not just a one-sided relationship or a one-sided interview, right? It's two-sided. This is a relationship that you're really looking at. Is this where I want to put my time and energy and my talents towards?
Sometimes at night I can't get to sleep and I kind of lay awake because I'm doing too much thinking and too much worrying about things. Are there any kind of breathing exercises or mind tricks that I could use to help put that aside and get some rest?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think of grounding tools are really great things to use to kind of, I think also before you go to bed. So if it's like 2 hours before you go to bed, you don't do any work, right? You stop all your work. And so you stop looking for jobs, you stop applying, you stop preparing, all of that. An hour before you go to bed, no screen time. If you can think about not using any screen time and go into your, closing off the day routine, whatever that might look like for you. And then you go to bed, right? And so there are, I think, having bedtime rituals can be really important. So sometimes if you go online to YouTube, has lots of bedtime meditations, right? The Calm app is a really good one. Headspace is another good one. Have different bedtime stories or meditations or that kind of stuff that can begin to quiet and calm your nervous system, essentially, right? And your brain from getting into that chatter that happens all night long. Even when you think you're sleeping, you're having that chatter. And then as far as breathing, I really like the box breathing. So if you imagine, you're lying in bed and you're drawing a box, and so the line that goes up is an inhale for the count of 3. The line that goes across is a a hold for 3. The line that goes down is an exhale for 3, and the line that goes across is a hold for 3. And if you're just lying on your bed and blanket or comforter or whatever it is, or your leg or whatever, and just keep drawing that box with the pattern of inhale, wait, exhale, wait, inhale, and doing that for a few minutes, that also can begin to bring down the nervous system into the soothing part, right? That says that you're calm, because you can't be calm and anxious at the same time, right? So if you can get yourself into that place, then you might find it a bit easier to fall asleep.
If students or new grads want to try and find someone to talk to, where would be the best place to find someone?
Well, I think there are a variety of places. So if you're looking for like an individual like therapist, if you're looking for therapy, then, Psychology Today is a really good place to look, because you can look by person's name or you can look by postal code or whatever, and they have really great kind of descriptions of what could happen. There's associations, different associations and mental health associations that you can take a look at as well, like CMHA is one, CAMH is one. Those are kind of the mental health kinds of things. I don't know a whole lot about coaching, but I'm sure that there are coaches around as you've spoken to and might be able to help and support as well.
All right. Well, thank you very much for speaking to me today. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. I enjoyed our conversation.
And that was my conversation with Andrew Holmes of the Student Wellness and Accessibility Center. So let's go over, what instructions did we learn today? First and foremost, it's important to know that there are people out there to talk to. You're not in this alone. There's more than 8 billion people in this world. There's someone you can find to talk to. For me, it was really reassuring hearing Andrew talk about sticking to a schedule and routine, because as a certified nerd, that's exactly what I do already. My calendar is full. My reminders are full. I create a clear plan and schedule, and I stick to it. Another thing we talked about was breathing exercises, how to use something that you do every day to settle down and clear your mind. And that's all for today. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and rate 5 stars. It really does help. On our next episode, I'll be talking to Shanice Coker of the Humber Advising and Career Services Office. We'll be talking about the services available to students current and graduated, about common resume tips, how to optimize your resume to make it both attractive to recruiters, and when they use resume scanning technology, so impressing both the person and the machine. We also talk about networking, a few tips, where to do it, and how to find these events. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.